Our first ever membership masterclass is being led by Nicole Vargas. Yay, let's give her a small little clap. Yeah. Nicole is the first vice president of the board of directors for San Diego Press Club. She's also an assistant professor of digital journalism at San Diego City College, which, Nicole, I'm guessing that is your day job, right? Okay.
It is.
Good. And she will go ahead and guide us through all the ins and outs of Canva. Like I said, I have no idea that this even exists, and it's such an amazing program. I'm so excited to know all about it. She's going to show us ways that journalists and other PR communication professionals, and PR, I mean myself, are going to use this in our daily lives. Nicole, please take it away and show us everything that you know.
Thank you, Andrew. So hi, everyone. Welcome. Just super happy to have all of you here. So we are going to dive right in. So as I mentioned, I'm going to start actually with a presentation here. This is one of Canva's many tools. This is actually Canva's templates for presentations. These allow you to kind of take your PowerPoint game to a little bit of the next level. What's really great is you're able to embed a ton of content and do some great things. And that's where I'm coming to you with this project as well. So I'm going to share this so you all can see what I am seeing. Now, a little bit about, as Andrew mentioned, all my background, right now I'm spending a lot of time with the students of San Diego City College. We have a pretty expansive city times media organization, and that's actually where we do a lot of our sandbox work. So a lot of what I'm going to share with you is skills, things that we've tried, things that we have broken, things that we have fixed, and all the different things that we're using as we work through being digital news, broadcast, radio, podcast, magazine. All of that together has really allowed us a lot of opportunities to sample and try different things. And that's what I'm excited to share with all of you. So what is Canva? As Andrew said, a web-based graphic design platform. You can use it for so many different things. There's basically two versions for use for all of us. Number one, there's a free version. Number two, there's a pro account. Tonight, I'm going to spend our time in the pro account. I think it's really the most effective place for us to really kind of play. I want to let those of you who have free accounts the opportunity to see what you can work up toward. Those of you who have pro, I'm hoping to uncover some really awesome Easter eggs for you. And if you're in education, K through 12, you can actually get a pro account for free. If you work for a nonprofit, you also have the opportunity to do that as well. So those are things that you can work through. Check the Canva site for more information. Now, what Canva isn't, it's not Adobe, and it's not trying to be. What I like to do is use Canva as another tool in my tool belt to just be better at the job that I'm trying to do and to guide my journalists to do the same. So if you have Adobe skills, great. If you're petrified of Adobe, that's okay too. It's something you can work up to. But again, this is just one of the different types of tools that's out there that can just really up your game. So let's talk about some new updates on Canva with it. Some of this you may have seen by accident. Some of it might be a total surprise. So first of all, recently added to Canva, there is now motion graphics with an animator built in to the design platform and to the design dashboard. I'm going to show that to you tonight. You can actually move faster with keyboard shortcuts. So for those of you who were groomed with especially if you learn on Mac, Control V, Control Z, Control X, all of that kind of thing, there's actually keyboard shortcuts in Canva. If you've been using Canva, just hit the letter L, and when a line pops up, it will result in a squeal of delight. I'm just gonna let you know now. Like the first time that happens, it is just so cool. And Canva's kind of responding to how a lot of us as professional communicators in the media industry, we like to work fast with those short keys, and there are a lot. And there's a list of them right there for you. Canva's also made it very easy to schedule social posts from right inside the tool. And so I'm going to show you actually Twitter and Facebook, and just recently added within the last 2 weeks, Instagram has also been put into the fold. So it's pretty exciting. And I've got some test runs that I'll be able to show you. You're going to be able to create templates in Canva. Canva has a very robust just menu of templates all over the place that are really fantastic. But you're going to also be able to create templates, some informally, some actually with a formal setting, but that's also an option inside Canva. And then finally, you can share thoughts and add notes to make communication easier. Not quite up to the level like a full-blown Google Docs, or for those of you who really like to use the track changes option on Microsoft Word. But let me tell you, being able to leave notes and feedback for your team really is incredible. And let me just tell you, I haven't even started to explain the potential for audio and video. It's pretty magnificent. But really, what Canva does is it allows us to be more efficient in terms of our own projects and to be more effective in terms of our collaborations. And that's really what hopefully you're able to take away from what we do to get together today. So let's talk about what it will be. Here is the plan. First of all, we're going to do a tour of the back end of Canva. We're going to look around, we're going to kick the tires, we're going to look underneath the seats, and we're going to find all of those hidden gems. I'm going to show you how to use templates as your creative inspiration. I hear from a lot of media professionals across the board, from entry level to mid-career professionals, that graphic design, the social image part of the game, is a little intimidating. They don't have a graphic design background. They're, word people, they're video, their interests lie in other areas. Canva tries to make it easy, and we're going to work on making it easier today. How to add motion and sound to your designs, we're going to do that today as well. And then finally, I'm going to show you how you can schedule branded social media posts from inside Canva. You never have to actually leave. So I'm going to come back to some of this good stuff once we're done. But right now, what I want to do is I'm going to actually show you some of the different windows into what exactly Canva can do. So first things first, Canva. So this is the dashboard for Canva. When you log into your pro account, this is what you would see. If you're in a free account, it will look slightly different, not too much. But what I want to show you right off the bat is Canva wants to invite you to design anything from the start, and that's what you can do. Perhaps the best part of what you're going to see here is no more Googling or going off memory on the exact size for the height and width for any content that you need, whether it be an Instagram post, Facebook video, anything that you're looking for. Canva, when you go and actually get ready to ask for access to that, it will automatically create it in the exact size you need for the platform in which you plan to use it. So an Instagram post, it knows exactly what size it needs to be. Not only is it going to make that easy for you, it's going to give you a palette, if you will, of templates on, and pardon, I'm going to be backwards on my left and right, a palette of different options in terms of templates that you can use, you can modify, you can adjust, whether just with a little bit of text or full-blown moving things around. And all of that is available with every time you log in to create any sort of design. So each design will be created to the exact specifications. Again, no need to search for it on the internet. It's going to be done for you automatically. Let me give you a little insight into what you've got over here too. When you log in, you have access to all of your designs first. This is, if you become a super user, if you get excited about this and you start really churning out content, this can be your best friend or your worst nightmare. When you click on all your designs and everything is there, sometimes it's a little intimidating. So I want to recommend, as you create content and as you're coming back, use this recent designs option to find that most recent content that you produced. And then you can also use the folders function. I have about 45 students in my newsroom and that's across all platforms, who at any time could be coming and going through our pro account. We have, and that can result in sometimes what feels like a little bit of a traffic jam. When students are looking for content that they need, the folders that are available in Canva make it so easy for us to keep track of everything that we need. If somebody is coming in to do social graphics versus lower thirds or motion graphics or putting together IGTV video, whatever it is, all of it can be organized in these folders. And remember, the goal is to be more efficient and to be able to be more collaborative. You have to start with organization to be able to execute that. Folders will definitely help you. Recent designs are great too, but really folders are the place where you want to get comfortable leaving your content. Don't let it be like your downloads folder on your computer. Everything is kind of a free for all. You want to take the time to work on it. Shared with you is where content, as you are collaborating with individuals who are off of your site, as they're sending content back and forth, you'll be able to access it there. Then there's two really neat tools that I want to show you. I'm going to give you a preview of them, and then you're going to see how they play once we dive into some of these designs. First things first, the brand kit. This is an area on a pro account where you are able to customize it to your specific needs. Now, I have just a single brand kit here. However, if you have multiple clients, if you have multiple platforms, if you have multiple brands, you can actually create additional palettes based on whatever you need. So what's nice is when I get into my designs and I need to really customize content to the brand that I'm working with, I can, instead of picking red, I can pick my red. And that's so important. I mean, we all know, that is part of the continuity of branding that we really need to be conscious of. Making sure that we're picking our red or our blue or our orange is really key. This palette will follow you through all of your designs. Another piece that I want to share with you, and I'm just going to give you a little tiny sneak peek, just know that it's there, is this lovely gem. This calendar is called the Content Planner. This is where social content is going to be really kind of planned out, massaged, created, saved, and sent out. So I'll be able to share with you a little bit of how that will happen, but I wanted to at least give you a preview so you know what that button does, and we'll be able to come back to it. So how do we go through and create content? Well, we go back to that homepage. And as I mentioned, when we're out here, we right off the bat, we'll have the opportunity to create whatever we want to the specifications we want with the guidance and the coaching of Canva available to us to just make it easier. So today,
Nicole, quick question.
Please, thank you.
Burning question here.
Bernie.
Do we have to have some type of degree in design or graphic design to do this? Because I don't have any money to pay for another degree.
Andrew, yes, none of us do. Absolutely. And no, the answer is no. And actually, it's perfect segue into this next move that I'm going to show you. I want to show you what you get to see when we create a design. So let's play around, everyone. Today, we are going to together create an Instagram post. And that's how we're going to walk through all of the steps that I'm excited to share with you. I'm going to click right here. Instagram post is my option. Boom. So when we create a design, it's going to open up our area that our workspace here. Our workspace is going to be nice and plain. But first, yeah, we're thinking, okay, Instagram content, it is so, it has to be visual. It has to have key text. It has to have text in the right places. How do I make this all work for what I'm doing? The nice thing is, as I mentioned, there's this beautiful palette of templates over here on the left. You can actually scan this palette of templates to find something that can inspire you. So Andrew, going back to what you asked, do I need a degree? No. Do I, though, need to, just be willing to try things? Yes, that is the most important thing with Canva. They are going to try and make this as easy as possible. You just get to scan through and see what works for you. Depending on the type of content you're creating, you can grab a template here to start you off. Now, once you continue scrolling, by the way, you'll actually hit a point where it's all the results. Every single Instagram template that Canva has created will be sitting there for you to be able to grab. Just for kicks though, I'm going to keep it a little bit simple. I'm going to grab this one. Today, I'm going to create an Instagram post that kind of showcases the awesomeness of what we're all doing together. Now, how do I take sit-ups into sitting? I'm going to show you. And I'm going to do the same as I show you. I'm going to give you kind of a back end tour of all of the fantasticness that you have access to here. And if any of you have any questions, I'm not able to quite see the chat, but please go ahead and add into that Q&A section. And Andrew, at any point, if there's anything burning, please go ahead and try me. Let's first start with the picture. So this is the picture that Canva has given me access to start. Great, but obviously not consistent with the brand that I'm with, the messaging that I'm going to be working toward. So I'm talking about today's Canva event. I'm going to change this picture. I have two options. Number one, I can go here to uploads and I can upload any picture that I have access to. And of course, keep it copyright safe, you know, that I have. I can upload that and I can use that in here. That is definitely one of the options. If you're a phenomenal photographer, if you've been provided art from a client or from a story source, if you have anything like that, you can upload it and use it. You also have the benefit of a really fantastic photo library. I can search the pro library and find anything I need, and I'm allowed to use any of these images. In the free account, you can use anything that's free. If there's a little crown, that's the one that's going to charge you. I believe it's $1 a day for use of those images. So you can just decide what's your priority. But today I'm going to use this image right here. This happens to be a pro image. I can click on this image, set it on here, and I can stretch it, make it all work. But I'm also going to show you a really neat option that is available. If I just click and drag it, and I hover over this line here that breaks the space off the workspace to on it, it will actually size the image almost like a snap to grid right in my workspace. And the best part is when I click on it, I actually can activate the crop function and I can move it left and right. Now, because I did that snap to, it's not going to let me go up or down. I'm going to have to drop the image and resize it manually to make that work, but I can at least drag it around, which is really, really great. And again, usually you can double click on it is one option, or simply clicking on the image and clicking the crop button. Just for kicks, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to make a copy of that, and I'm going to delete all of this text content. Don't worry, I'm going to come back to it in just a minute. I want to focus on what you can do with images in Canva really quickly. So in the image space, let's talk about options. You have flip horizontally or vertically or horizontally, both are options. Crop, which I just showed you. Adjust. So for instance, say you need a little more brightness or a little less contrast or some more saturation. Don't worry, there's a reset button. So when you mess this up, you can always reset it. Maybe I want a little bit of a blur because I'm going to set some text on it, or I want to do a different type of treatment. Or I'm interested in the vignette option that kind of creates that hazy glow around the edges. All of that can be done and erased with this adjustment option. I also have a fantastic option here for the Instagram purists in the group. We can wait till we get to Instagram to mess with filters, or we can mess with them here in Canva. I can click on any of these filters, and Canva actually allows me to even adjust the power and the intensity of these filters as I go. So if I want something a little lighter, I want something a little richer, or I want to go straight black and white. With the click of a button, you're able to do this. And again, the most important part to know, there is an undo switch right here. So if you get too far down the rabbit hole, you can always dig your way back out. Now, let me show you one of my, before I go to my favorite, you also over here, another one that I do use quite a bit is the transparency button. You're able to reduce and increase how much transparency you use. You can also decide what is the color behind your image by clicking on this color wheel. Now, remember that discussion we had about that palette that was going to go with us? Here it is, City Times. I've got my palette right there automatically. The other fantastic tool, so again, so going back, Andrew, no graphic design degree, no problem. Color wheel eludes you. What is also fantastic is Canva provides, with every photo that you lay into your design, they're going to give you the colors that are used, that they can draw out. So Photoshop friends, remember how you use the dropper? You go figure out what color you want, you use the dropper, you figure out what the code is, and then you come back and you actually type it in. This does that for you. no droppers necessary. This is going to tell me here are 5 colors that are native to this picture already, and I can use those in any way, shape, or form. So I'm going to, so I could decide, do I want behind the picture, excuse me, I'm going to do my transparency first. Let's just for kicks reduce this down to 50%, okay? Then what do I want in the background? I can decide I want this kind of grayish color, which looks like it's kind of the slats in between, or this pretty cream, kind of a blush. Maybe this kind of beigeish, gray, light off-white kind of color, or this. I can actually use those colors as the background to bleed through that transparency and give it that really gorgeous texture that I'm looking for. Or I can go dark. All of those are options. I can also pick all of these default colors, no problem, it's up to you.
So Nicole, that is an amazing feature to work with. Is that all part of the free program as well, or is this all paid and some of it's free or some of it's paid? Like how what do you get if you didn't pay for the actual program?
You don't pay for it. The biggest thing is there's limitations on the number. So all of these colors, you'll know so see right here as I'm pointing to it. Sorry, you can tell I'm a teacher in a classroom. Do you see this little crown right here where it says City Times Legacy Colors? That crown tells me that that is something that I get because I pay for my pro account. But do you notice there are no other crowns anywhere? That's because those are included in the free as well. So transparency is in the free account too. And here's what I would suggest. If you are just dipping your toe in this, by the way, I really want to encourage you all to start free. I did. I started free and I spent a lot of time on it. It wasn't until I really started using some of these advanced tools that I'm going to show you a little bit later that I was like, okay, you end up hitting one wall where you're like, I need to spend money. But start with free. And I will tell you in our newsroom, I have free accounts for every one of our platforms just to mess with. And then the journalists realize, oh, I need the pro account for just this project. So we actually use 2. It works for us. So you'll find your system that works for you best. But that's some of these tools are only pro. The brand palette is pro. Transparency, anyone can do it. Anyone can do that. So let me show you another now, the effect. Now this is totally only on the paid side. And those of you who, and I'm gonna scooch by it. So those of you know what's coming if you are a pro user. What's also really neat is they have created these smart mock-ups and these frames. So for instance, if I decide that I want my picture to appear in a laptop, that's all I have to do. I just click on this frame and it makes it happen. If I want it to be now, the Instagram size, there's some sizing things that Canva's still working on. It's not perfect, but that's one of the different, those are one of the really cool options. I see that being used a ton. I'm using it a lot. I see a lot of journalists a lot. It's becoming a very common option. Here's another thing that I really wanted to show you. And this is to me worth my $12.99 a month, the background remover function. Everyone, take a look. With the click of a button, I have just asked Canva to do something that in Photoshop, it takes me just way too many hours to do. My perfectionism doesn't allow me to do this fast in Photoshop. That is what just happened on, whoops, and then I just broke it. What it did is it just erased the entire background. That's the background remover right there. So if you have been, again, that person in Photoshop who used the magic tool to create your little outline and you're trying to get every wisp of hair and every finger just right, Canva just did that with one click of a button and I did not have to worry about it. Now, the nice thing is too, with the background remover, I can then decide, do I want to, and I clicked off it by accident, sorry, I can actually ask for more of the picture back, or I can remove more with these buttons. So for instance, if I want to restore this part of, and actually, let me undo it once. Hold on, I double did it. Okay, so background remover, apologize. I got so excited, I clicked it twice. So I can actually use with the erase and restore buttons, I can actually give back more of the picture or reduce less. So for instance, I can click restore and I can decide I want some of that wall back. I can decide that I'm going to use a very big brush to get some of that wall back. Or I can decide I want to erase a little bit more. I can drop that brush size way down. I can go down to the bottom here and zoom in, and I can get in that little tiny spot, and I can just get rid of all the stuff that I don't want. Click done, and there you go. That is only Pro. But again, if you have these challenges in Photoshop, this is one of those things that can be done very quickly. I can tell you, you teach someone how to do this the first time and they just start, everything becomes a cutout. It's actually quite funny. This is one of the things that I always get a giggle out of, that I can always tell when somebody has just learned how to use this tool. It's very obvious. This is the one that probably chases people the most. So that alone is a pretty fantastic option. Now, another thing, so that takes care of pictures.
Nicole, quick question.
Yes.
If you want to, I'm sorry if you did say this and I just missed it. If you wanted to drag a photo in behind that, you just drag and drop it like you would the other templates?
Yes, exactly. So for instance, if I decide I don't like this photo, I'm like, I just want to go a totally different direction, I can just grab whatever photo I want and I can just, again, use that little, once I put it over there, it will move it over. These are all just images that I'm just grabbing from wherever. I can also grab the images that I've uploaded. So for instance, some of the images and I'm not going to place them just for dragging and dropping sake. But, I've got, images like this. Then once I click on them, I'm able to manipulate more of them. So again, just whatever images I want. Now, say I'm interested in some sort of like a grid type of pattern. I can still do that. I can always go back and change my templates. Then let me show you one other tool that you might like. Elements. These are other things you can add. So I want to show this to you because, for instance, maybe you decide I want to use 2 or 3 or 4 pictures. I can go to this frames option here, and I can use this to create different photo collage looks or treatments to my photos. So for instance, I could grab this one and I'm going to put it on here. I'm going to fit it to my images, and I'm not going to make it perfect. I'm just going to, for argument's sake here, let's just place it. Then I can go back to my photos and I can actually create, oh, that was a bad choice. Sorry. So I can, and that will actually stack them for me. So if maybe, Andrew, that might have been what you were kind of alluding to, is I can use these frames to adjust the pictures that I am creating in. So again, I can even put this one in here. I can add in this frame. What it's going to do, I can go grab a photo, again, grab this unique photo, and maybe that's part of my design. Maybe, and those are actually in elements. Elements frames is where you're going to find these. This will be also where you find different shapes. If you want any sort of other pieces of the puzzle, grids. So grids are also the same thing as frames, same idea, same difference. You're going to be able to add a lot of this content here. There you go. There we go. Our snap to. And I decided I want this really pretty picture of a beach, and right here. That's all it takes. That's all it takes. So you don't have to worry about resizing. You don't have to worry about height, width, all of that. You can just grab it and it's going to, and then again, double click on it and that'll allow you to place it. I didn't want to cut off that cute dog's little tiny ears. Or maybe I decided, you know what, I want that dog on this side. I'm going to double click on it. And then maybe here, I'm going to do my flip and I'm going to flip it horizontally. Now I have 2 dogs. So these are just some of the little games we can play in here. And that's what I want. I hope you all leave with is, I hope you all realize this is actually really fun. It's really fun. And hopefully it will actually get you feeling like you actually can be creative in a graphic design space without a fan. Yes, there is I'm not replacing graphic designers any way, shape, or form, but sometimes timing and resources just means we have to take control of the situation. And this gives us the power and the confidence. And again, to work together too, in a way that with a lot of other tools we can't do. So that helps you all with pictures. Andrew, any other questions about images?
No, actually, I just wanted to jump in there and give us a little bit of a reminder to everybody that's watching. Just in case you missed the beginning, we are talking everything Canva, and this is our first ever membership masterclass, part of our series. We are recording the session, so if you missed anything, do not worry about it. You can get it at a later date. We're going to be posting that online. Also, in the chat stream, we're encouraging anybody to share their LinkedIn profile with other guests. And if you have any questions, please put them in the Q&A stream, not the chat. We're monitoring that Q&A. I've already seen a question that went in, and we're going to be answering any of those questions as possible. Please put your questions in, even as Nicole is doing her thing. And lastly, please don't forget to support the San Diego Press Club and be sure to become a member this month. Look in the chat for the current membership promotion. Nicole, I just wanted to jump in there and say all that. You can go back to showing us this amazing program.
Marvelous. I'm on it. So now we looked at images. Let's take a look at text, because I think y'all are going to be really excited about this. So we grabbed this template. Remember, this is our friend doing sit-ups. So I'm not going to, that's definitely not me. This looks more like me with the computer screen. How can I manipulate this text? Well, first, let me show you some of the cool tricks. Number one, when we're trying to move, when you're using Canva, sometimes we have to try things and we don't want to mess up the template. So my best suggestion to all of you is think about groups. Think about basically batching content into a group, and that allows you to move things comfortably. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to click on my mouse and I'm going to drag it down, and I'm going to make a box here, and I'm going to try and highlight all the pieces of this graphic here. When I click on that, you'll notice that it highlights the whole thing. I'm going to click on my more screen here and click group. And by grouping that, what that allows me to do is now move the whole thing together. So this is something that when we can do in InDesign and Photoshop, we do that with our layers. We do the grouping. That is all it takes over here. You have that same functionality. I'm also going to group this one. This was one that when I was doing my practice training, I was like, I found another little hidden Easter egg. And this I'm going to group too. So when I'm moving it around, this gives me the flexibility to actually move it without damaging the integrity of the template. Remember, I'm not a graphic designer, so I don't want to go too far off the plan that Canva is giving me. That's how I can do it. Now, let's talk about this text. So when I highlight the text, you'll be really happy to see that, oh, well, number one, you're seeing the little spinny wheel. That's Grammarly. So friends who are petrified of misspelling of any sort of type of situation, Grammarly plays in here. So if you need that, you can use it. Now, other things that you have. This will look similar to Microsoft Word for a lot of you. Hopefully, you're going to have fonts. Now, some people asking me, where does pro begin and free end? Right here, this is only as a Canva user, a pro user, I'm allowed to have that font. If you're in free, you can't have that font. There you go. There's another thing you can't have. But again, these are like minor things to begin with.
Nicole, there was a question from Tom who was asking, can you combine the pro version background cutout feature with gradient to transparent effect with a photo behind it all?
Can you combine this with a photo behind? Yes, absolutely.
Yes. So when you did the cutout before,
can
you just drag and drop a photo straight into the background from that cutout?
Drag and drop. Let me see if I'm understanding what you mean, like that?
No, from the when you did the cutout from behind of the computer screens, it was black behind there. You can put another
oh yeah. Oh yes, absolutely. Yeah, let's see if I can get my little dogs in here. Let's try it. Let's play with it. Okay, there you go. Answered your question. So, whoops, I just lost my dogs. It worked for a second.
And you can also add a transparent gradient to transparency effect as well.
Yes. So let's go again. We'll grab our picture. Let me go to effects. I'm going to actually get rid of this frame really fast. We've got that picture. Effects. There we go. Oh, you don't want to load frames? That's okay. Now, this is also something important just to talk about. This is still, I thought I could. You know what? Let me check. Let's check if we can. Okay, so no, I don't think we can. Now that I would still experiment with it. So what I have done in the past is I actually created two designs. I created design of the mock-up, and I created it with a transparent background, which you can do when you download any content. You have the option to, and again with pro accounts, to ask for a transparent background. So any white space is transparent. What I would do in that case is I would download the frame content, upload it in, and put it on as an image. So I would literally create that as a two-step process. It can be done, not seamlessly, but it can be done. So hopefully that helps. Oh, great question. And that's, you know what, this is all, it's all just things to try. And what's neat about the web-based idea is that, you know, already what's going to be really interesting is there's the app is constantly changing and morphing and moving, and things are coming and going. So expect there to be changes. This is the most important skill that we can learn. Web-based tools come and go. But what's really important is that we learn to be nimble and we kind of move with it. If there's ever a question you have, you know, looking at, you can follow Canva on Twitter, follow on social media. There's a lot of resources there that can help you. And there's even a page on the Canva website where they update all the newest information. And it's a great place to check for those like little functionality changes.
We have just a few questions in the chat actually right now. Sharon asked, can you transfer Canva design to Photoshop?
Yes, you absolutely can. And you can import. So you can, but you won't be able to edit it there. You can take it into Photoshop and then you won't be able to move things around basically. But you can take this and then put it into Photoshop and then start working on it. So if I decide to go into Photoshop and then remove this background, I could do that. You're just not gonna have the manipulation functions. That makes sense, but yeah.
Okay, and then Jody asked, since you're talking about text, are you allowed to copy and paste Word documents to go with it?
So one of the things that we do is, so I happen to have here's the social content from that my students work on, that the journalists are working on for their magazine. I can go back in here and yes, there we go. So there's your bullet points. Kind of ugly right now because it wasn't ready for that, but absolutely. I do recommend generate your text in other places just as a backup. With any web-based tool, to be honest, everybody. I do that with Photoshop. I do that with InDesign, with InDesign, with any of the web-based tools that I use. I always generate it somewhere else and then copy and paste it on the off chance that the power goes out the time you hit cut and paste. Like, you never want to have to worry about that. So yeah, absolutely. You can copy the text from anywhere. Absolutely. And speaking of this text, let me show you. You have, again, fonts. You've got font colors, italic. This little guy right here, and let me actually resize this so it's a little bit better. Actually, I was going to make it about today. So let's say up your Canva. Oops, sorry, my bad. Oh, I hit rectangle. There you go. Up your Canva game. Okay. So what I can also do with this is this button right here allows me to adjust my spacing. I can make my letters further apart, can adjust my lines, which is very convenient. There's also more effects. I can, in Canva, do shadows. By default, the shadow will be the same color as your text. But what you can do, I'm going to make a really aggressive purple. So you'll be able to see the offset and you'll see what the shadow really does. But I can actually create and customize. If you want to go in circles, you want to get a little dizzy, I can make a blur. I can decrease or increase the intensity of the color behind. I can do lift, hollow, splice, echo, glitch, neon. All of these are options with the click of a button. And there are also options to get rid of them with a none button as well. So just for kicks, I'm going to, again, grab a different color. I'm just going to go with this gray. If I were to watch this, watch the video. Now, watch this. Another thing that's really great when you group text is it will actually adjust based on the typing. So one of you, it might have been Sharon, you might have asked me, can I copy and paste from Word document? You can. And if you do it into group text, what it'll do is it will adjust. So watch the video on YouTube. It literally just made my backdrop to match my text, and it continues to make the same margins for me without me having to think about it. Now, when I change this, go ahead.
Nicole, just want to let you know, we have about 15 minutes left. I know you just mentioned video on YouTube. I know that you can do a little bit of video editing from this. You mentioned that before.
Yes.
How does that work?
So let me show you. So what you can do, the next project that I want to show very quickly, really quick, let me come back to this. So you can create motion graphics here, by the way. So I'm going to drop this background and make this the same color. Then I'm going to ask Canva to animate it for me. I'm going to click this animate button, and it's going to give me options. I can animate my page or just elements, and all of this will be done automatically. Here's the breathe. Here's fade. Oop, that's just the element. So let me click off of the element. Bear with me so you can see it better. There you go. If I only click on an element, it will allow me to animate just that baby element. But if I have the whole thing clicked, it will actually allow me to take care and add this action. When I share this Instagram post, I can share it as an image, as a PNG, as a JPEG, or I can share it as a video, and it will upload onto social media and it will play like a GIF. And if I felt really, really crazy, I can actually go in here and I can add audio to it. Canva has a built-in audio library where you can grab songs and you can place them on your designs. This happens, Life is Dreaming is a 2-minute and 59-second song. I'm only going to need, based on my timing for my animation, I can make my animation up to 30 seconds. I'm only gonna make it, say, 5 seconds. If I put Life is Dreaming as the music behind it, it will only clip 5 seconds of it when I move it over to social media. It won't keep the whole thing. So this is one of those really cool little activities. Now, video editing, what you can do is, I want to show you an option. So we have, this was an example of a project that a student was working on, where they created very similar to those Now This videos. And the idea was that it created slides that once played together turned into this really fun, super interactive video piece. And so with each slide, it actually has, oh, and you can see how those comments work, by the way. If you have basic comfort with editing the ends of audio or editing the ends of video, you can then upload it into here. And you can actually create content that can be showcased with your still images. So for instance, I have another still, and right here, this happens to be the inauguration video from that I screen copied a version of the inauguration video from Todd Gloria. And inside here, when I imported it, I imported 20 seconds. I'm going to actually keep 20 seconds.
As a kid growing up in Claremont, I didn't see people who looked like me.
This entire timeline is the raw video. All I did was drag these little buffers to match where I wanted to go. So I wanted to start saying, as a kid in Claremont.
For all of us.
All right, so I want to make sure that I'm going to have to go fishing for it. Once I find it, I can just hit play.
That we start building.
So there we go. And so I'm able to move those two endpoints and adjust and decide where exactly I want my video. By the way, I'm also able to add the YouTube logo. So I'm able to add all those really great courtesies that are just the right thing to do, and a watermark. I can also add into other videos. This is another video that we're working on for the press club. I can add lower thirds. So for instance, this is a video that was cut, and what I did is I went through and I added lower thirds and the watermark, and all of that was done. Let's go through so that I'm able to, again, create this total package of really kind of creating the graphic treatment to just a plain video. So being able to add who's talking, being able to add important quotes, being able to add how to follow them on social media, all of those are options. And then finally, the end slide that we all like to have for social media. This is the end slide for YouTube. Once I upload it into YouTube, YouTube allows me to add in the content around it, and this keeps my content branded and consistent. So before I switch over to questions, let me show you one quick thing. I want to show you that content editor. I promised you I would show you how that content planner works. Right here, we have our content planner. What you do is you create your graphics, whether it be Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter. Find the day that you're interested in posting on. Hit your plus symbol, and I'm going to go and find the image. So once we were all done, imagine that this is the Instagram graphic that we all created together. I can choose where it's going to go, whether I want to go to Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. I'm going to just pick Instagram because, again, remember, Instagram is where we created this content. It's not sized for Twitter. It's not sized for Facebook. You don't want to mix those up. You did all that work. Then I'm going to decide, do I want the animated video or do I want just a JPEG? I can decide one or the other. Then I'm going to paste my text. Now, a lot of us have teams that are working on social media together. I'm going to paste the text that maybe my social media coordinator has been working on right in here. It's already been edited. It's already been sized, ready to go. I can also decide on what day and time that is going to be posted. Now, is this going to replace Buffer or Hootsuite? No. But is it going to be another tool in your tool belt? Yeah. And I can actually save it as a draft, so I can always come back to it later. And it sits there waiting for me so I can figure out what to do. Or I can schedule it right out. To show you what it would look like if we push that animation out, I wanted to give you an idea. This was an animation that the student journalists worked on for their new magazine. They wanted to animate the cover of the magazine. And so this is the GIF that's being, or GIF, whichever one you want to use, but it's going to constantly cycle through. They did put a little bit of music on it, but you don't hear it unless you click on it. But here they actually have a graphic. The magazine doesn't fit the whole for Facebook. So they had to create a graphic that spread across the whole space. If they didn't, it was going to damage the integrity of that artwork. They wanted to make sure they kept that intact. Same for Twitter, exact same. And you can see how the contrast is for the wider space. And again, how they're able to create it. And Instagram. Instagram is a much tighter little space. They weren't able to put text on the side, but they're still able to get that animated action. And just so you know, it does tell you right here, published by Canva. So that's how the scheduler works from the inside and on the outside. And you can see when they created the content, it still links the lives come back link. The hashtags, the handles, they all light up from inside Canva. As long as you format them properly in that text, it's going to actually do the job. The only thing I'm not loving is how Facebook handles show up. That hasn't actually worked yet in Canva. I'm hoping it's a feature that will roll out in the near future. But this gives you an idea of just the potential that exists there. And that way you can schedule out your content, have it ready to go, do it all in one sitting, and again, be more efficient and more collaborative. Who's got more questions?
Sure. Actually, speaking of Facebook and Instagram and all of those, somebody, Janet wants to know if, can you schedule in LinkedIn?
No, not right now. Not right now. And I will tell you, even Instagram was a surprise like 2 weeks ago. So Instagram is the newest functionality that has been added. You cannot post from inside Canva. However, you can create sized content for LinkedIn and just do it manually.
And you said that that Instagram actually was just put in this week or last week.
I think 2 weeks ago. All of a sudden there was a giant banner across the top that says, now ready for Instagram business. I just woke up one morning and it said, and I said, oh yeah, I was about to teach Canva. That's how it works.
That's
they
great.
always throw a new function when I'm about to teach it.
Now, another question from Tom about disability captions.
Yes, not yet in here. And this is definitely one of the big challenges. We're waiting. So accessibility is a huge challenge that has not yet been addressed by Canva. So when you are importing content in, you're going to want to make sure that as you record, what I would say, if it's coming from YouTube, record it with the captions on. Use a tool like Screencast-O-Matic, which allows you to caption things first and import them captioned. Is not going to do the dirty work on this side, unfortunately, which is really disappointing. They're not yet there. I'm hoping because they're doing such a big push in education that they're going to catch on that they have to be accessible. They're not there yet. But speaking of that, let me talk to you all about two more things that I really want to make sure that I share with you. A couple things. Number one, especially in journalism land, everyone, never let your ethics slide. Just because I'm giving you access to all these fun tools doesn't mean we get to throw copyright and all of the other rules that matter to us out the window. Really, really, really mind your ethics and the standards of journalism. You know, when I heard from a faculty member once at a 4-year university, students are never going to go out and take pictures again. Yes, they will. Yeah, believe me, photojournalists want to take pictures, but right now, as we are at home, working from home, this is a really great option to allow us to bridge a very big gap. Another really important part of the puzzle. Just because you're expanding your toolbox doesn't mean that we want to put on our blinders to the really important perspective of reflecting our audience. Please reflect diversity, equity, inclusion in your work on Canva as well. Representation matters. I challenge my journalists all the time. I'm like, look at that front page. What do you see? Does it look, do we get to see the community that we represent? Yes or no? If not, fix it. And it's really, there are actually sites that have clip art and have images and are fantastic image resources of people of color, people with varying ability levels and disabilities, people from different backgrounds. Use this as an opportunity to really showcase your community. You know, push beyond what looks, you know, very sterile and bland. You know, really do what you can, because it's awesome to be able to reflect our audience and take this opportunity to do that. And finally, make sure you do everything with purpose. Don't just put animation because I showed you. Don't just play with it because you can play with it. Play with it because you have a reason to do it. Animate a cover, but don't animate everything. You know, add those now this videos or add those lower thirds in those cases, but do it because there's a real reason. When you're going to IGTV, do you need to add that in? All of those things, make sure you're doing this with a reason. Now, play with reckless abandon, but proceed in the public with purpose.
That sounds fantastic. Thank you so much, Nicole. There is a couple more questions. How can you share the design for preview for approval for your colleagues? Is there a feature for that?
Oh, yes, there is. Right here, this fantastic share button allows you to share with people. They have the opportunity to view or to edit. You can actually just share a link. And then the 3 buttons on this side, let me tell you, there's some fantastic functionality built in here that every time I click on here, it seems like there's something magic and new. Let me grab a design, by the way, just to give you better stuff. But here you can download video, you can share a link just to watch. And so that is really, really popular when I'm working in a collaboration. You can do sharing links, you can add things into other places. There's just a lot of resources, and I'll put it in a Google Drive. So there is a lot of opportunities here.
Is that the place that you can link in your social media accounts?
Yes. So when you go to create content, it's going to ask you it'll prompt you to connect your social media to it. And so at that point, you'll go through the process. You'll get the allow screen, the whole 9. That will all happen when you are in this area or when you go to use it for the first time. Those are 2 times typically that I have seen where they have created that functionality, where it's like, hey, before you go, we need to make sure. With the audio, same thing. The audio is like, hey, we just want to make sure that, you know, you have a place where you're using this appropriately. So, you know, again, for just $12 a month or for just nothing, it's a worthy trade. It's a worthwhile trade.
That's awesome. And finally, the last question that I have from Dina is, how does someone learn Canva from scratch, especially if they're already experts in graphic design?
Just log in. Now, log in, but not on a Sunday, because you will miss Monday. Log in on like a Thursday and plan to just give it a weekend. Give it a weekend and just have fun. And I think, as I tell when I work with people who, you know, when we're working with like for video editing, I know Final Cut and I know Premiere, but sometimes I have to use iMovie or Premiere Elements because I'm in a hurry. I'm working on a device. I'm in a situation where I need to change my tools and my tool belt. Think of it that way too. If you're a graphic design superstar, you too can have fun in here. And that's really how you want. Just give it a weekend. Just play. I didn't start working on information, infographics or data visualization or anything. I started with a Christmas card of a 6-year-old who was missing her 2 front teeth, and the cutest 6-year-old in the universe, by the way, needed a Christmas card, and that's how it started. And go in with that kind of energy and that kind of joy, and then see where it can go. But just go in and just have fun. But definitely don't start on a Sunday night. You're going to end up missing your alarm on Monday morning.
Well, thank you for that. You just actually gave me a great idea of sending my mother Mother's Day
Yes.
card or something like that. I didn't even think about it until just now.
Embed video into it and send it as an email. That's also a really cool thing you can do. So
yeah, she asked me for something and I was like, happy Mother's Day. That's all I have for you. But no, she's gonna get something special now. Thanks so much.
Wonderful. And honestly, you can even get things printed out of here. I'm not even joking. I haven't tested it yet, but I'm about to try it with a magazine project that we're working on. But if you have any questions, if you want to follow up, please reach out to me on Twitter, reach out to me on LinkedIn. That's my campus email. You can absolutely send me a message. If you want to learn more about, Canva, if you want to talk shop about a lot of these things, if you're interested in the Canva intermediate class, should we take this to the next level? Reach out. Let's talk about this. I want to be a resource to all of you members, new and those of you who have been with us for a while. So I'm excited to be able to work together with all of you as part of the press club. And please, again, we're going to have all this awesome content on YouTube, and we are here to help. So any way we can make you more marketable and bring you more confidence as we slowly move our way out of and back into the life that we knew a couple of years ago, we're here to help.
Thank you so much, Nicole, for this. This was an amazing, amazing presentation.